Hey everybody, and welcome to a brand new edition of the award-winning Talking About Cars, where everybody has a car story, from celebrities to car personalities to just people who bring their classics to cruise nights and car shows. I'm Randy Cardoon, and this week we talked to our friends at the Esquire Network. They have a new show called JoyRide, although Wild Ride might seem to be a better title. Actor and overall car guy Oliver Trevena is one of the hosts of the show. He'll join me right here at the Automobile Driving Museum. We'll get a chance to talk about cars. There you go. See, look at this.
Yeah, it's nice.
This is a Triumph. Have you ever been in anything like this, especially with those windows in the back?
I can't say I've been in anything like this. No, I haven't. They're great windows.
Yeah, we got this especially for you because you've
Thank you, sir. You're from England.
Absolutely.
Yep, this is true. This is true. I am from England. This is comfortable. It's a lot more comfortable than I thought it would be. Looking from the outside, I thought it was going to be a hard seat, but it's nice.
And my head doesn't fly too high over the windshield.
It still flies quite high. Yeah.
I thought suddenly my Herman Munster would be here and I'd be looking over, so that worked out pretty well.
Yeah, you're all right. This is a good look for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
This is great.
Let's start off with you growing up.
Yes.
In England.
A few years back.
Just a few years back.
Just a few years back.
Tell me a little bit about what did the folks drive? What cars do you remember first off?
I mean, obviously, you know, your British cars like the Jaguars and stuff like that, growing up. But yeah, growing up, I grew up by the seaside. So some people had cars similar to that. My mum actually had a Citroen, I think it was a Citroen X, it was called at the time. And it had a roof similar to this where you'd pull it back. And I actually have a funny story from it, which it just came to mind. I remember my mum was driving, my grandma was in the passenger seat, and I was squashed into like this little narrow back seat. And we're speeding up the road, and suddenly the roof just flew off and went down the street, and I had two screaming women in the car. I actually was scared. It wasn't that enjoyable. I was young. I think I was about 7 or 8, but that stuck with me. Yeah.
Women start screaming, I get scared. I think I understand your pain.
When they scream, they commit. That's the thing. They scream. They really scream. So yeah, that was a moment. But yeah, cars growing up, you know, we had a lot of British cars. That was really in our neighbourhood. Most people had British cars, and then you know your cars like what most people had was a Ford Escort. I think that was probably the most common car. Ford Escorts and Minis.
So is that what you drove?
That was my first car. Yeah, Ford Escort, and then I upgraded to a Ford Escort XR3i. Which was like the bad boy speedier version, which was great. I put my CD player in it and, you know, the big speaker in the back, and became one of those guys for about 3 months, 4 months.
What happened after 3 or 4 months?
I upgraded again. I got a BMW. I got a BMW 3 Series, a 330 it was. But the proper old, you know, the old ones, not like how they look now.
Sure.
And then what did I do from that? From that I got a Mercedes, it was the S500. S500.
Oh, 500.
Yeah, it was. My mum and dad went mad at me because my insurance was completely through the roof.
And how old were you at this point?
I was 19. Well,
you've been through. Wow, you just gave.
I change a lot of cars.
You're fickle.
My dad was a car salesman. He had a car garage and was a car salesman. So we used to get good deals on cars, so I could buy the car. We'd go to the auctions. We'd actually go up to the car auctions together.
I see.
Buy the car. If we got a deal, if he told me it was a deal because I was learning the trade, then I'd buy the car, keep it for 6 months, and sell it. Put some new wheels on it, do it up a little bit, sell it, and make some money. So it was kind of somewhat a business. Yeah. So I wasn't on the run or anything like that.
Thank you for pointing that out.
Just to clarify, because looking at me, you might think that, but no. That's not me.
No, I'd never.
I'm very well behaved. Good. Continue.
Never crossed my mind. So this question then, based on what you just mentioned, of all the cars you've had, and I'd assume being the son of a car owner, lot owner, you've had a few. Have you ever thought, man, if I could only have that car back, what car would that be?
You know what's terrible? I never really have. I've always tried to. I don't really look back because I do get bored I get bored. That's my trouble. I'll have a car for 6 months. I don't really want it back because I got rid of it because I was bored. The car I enjoyed the most, the car I had the most fun in was the Ford XR3i because it was just a part of my life. I was in college. You know, it was a cool car. Sounded a lot faster than it was. You know, the exhaust and stuff like that, and it was just a lot of fun. It was great. So I would like to go back in one of those cars just for the memories. I wouldn't want it again.
Just drive it.
Just drive it once, but yeah, I wouldn't want the car again.
Been there, done that.
Been there, done that. Exactly. Moving on.
So what was the best handling car you've ever had?
The best handling, I had an SL65 AMG, and it was incredible. That was here in the States though, but that was great. That was amazing.
It's interesting. I'm always curious, like the show that you're on, JoyRide.
Yes.
Which of course is going to be on the Esquire Network.
Yep.
Do you drive all the time in that show, or do you?
They let us stop. They let us stop to pee. We're allowed to pee and then get back in the car.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Are you a passenger?
Yes. So the way it works is each episode we pair up with one of the other co-hosts. So, for instance, in the show is Brian Vickers, Mischa Barton, T-Pain, and myself. And one episode will be me and T-Pain. The other episode will be, Mischa and Brian. And you pair up for that episode. So you spend half the time driving one car. You're the driver, they're the passenger, and then they're the driver, you're the passenger.
So you've passenger drivered with everybody so far on the show.
Been with everyone so far, and I think it's good that they do that because when you're driving, you kind of think to yourself, I won't go too crazy because they're about to get in the seat next. Which, to be honest, didn't stop a lot of them, especially Brian. I don't think I've ever been so scared in my life. This is a true story. I've never been so scared. I think this was the first day of filming. First day of filming was I got paired up with Brian Vickers, and that was the one day that I was like, did I make the right decision?
So what was he driving?
He was driving a Porsche GT3 RS.
Okay.
A NASCAR driver in that car, and that was a car at that moment that I felt. He drove a couple of cars that episode, but that car especially, I was close to throwing up. Like, I've never got that car sick in my life, and it was rough. And the worst thing with Brian is the more you show that you're scared, the more he wants to push it.
Lovely.
Yeah, he's that guy.
He's that guy.
He's that guy.
Everybody knows that guy, and he probably is that guy.
Yeah, but there was one moment. I'll let the people watch it, but there's a moment when I get him back accidentally, but I really scared out of him.
Accidentally?
Well, I didn't mean to spin the car. out,
Okay.
But it happened. Yes, but it happened. And obviously Brian, being a guy that's so used to being in control and driving, him being the passenger, he didn't like it too much either. So
tell me a little bit about how you became involved with the show. How did you hear about it?
I'd done a car called GQ Car Collectors, which was more vintage car, visiting people's museums and stuff like this, really. And then through that, my passion for cars and my hosting experience, I work a lot as a host. They kind of wanted some, celebrity aspect to it, and I went in and met with the guys, and then the rest is history. And then, T-Pain, Mischa, and Brian.
Now tell me a little bit.
Such an eclectic mix.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, you've got the NASCAR driver, you got the rapper, who probably is a pretty good driver. You have Mischa, who's Mischa.
Who's Mischa?
Who knows how to get into a car.
Yeah, she knows how to drive too.
And she knows how to drive.
Yeah.
And then there's yourself, who has some experience behind the wheel.
Right.
All right, so who is the best driver of you four?
In my mind, me. But that's definitely not true. Brian. I mean, Brian is just, when you watch him on the road, it's quite fascinating. It really is. I've never been in the car with a NASCAR driver. I've been in the car with a race car driver, but never a NASCAR. And there is some sort of, I don't know. He's got no fear at all, which is worrying when you're the passenger. Yeah, I'm really.
Or he's really confident.
Or he's just a crazy man.
That's true.
I'll go with the third. No, Brian's definitely by far the best driver. T-Pain is such a car fanatic and owns pretty much every car that any of us would ever want to own.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's that guy. He's like, oh yeah, you like that car? I've got two of them. I've got one in white and one in pink. Every single car, and it's surprising how many of them he has. Two of them, one in different colours, one for him, one for his lady. But yeah, he's amazing. Such a funny guy. So great to work with.
How many cars does he have? Do you know?
I think 34. I think it might be 33 or 34, but it's around that.
34.
He has quite the car collection.
I was going to say, he must have a garage kind of like this.
Yeah, we're in the wrong business.
We are.
Should we release a rap record after this?
Yeah, I was going to say,
Let's do it.
We'll maybe have to start doing a rap song here in the car.
We could. You first. You lead the way.
No, that's okay. Well, I'll think of some really good lyrics.
Yeah. And then we just bust out.
Yeah, we have plenty of time on that.
Yeah, perfect. For sure.
So then there's Mischa, who doesn't necessarily, you'd think, would drive really as good as these other guys. So how does she hold her?
She holds her own. She actually holds her own. I was a bit worried Well, not worried, but I was intrigued to see how she was going to do with the manuals. And she nailed it. She was actually really impressive.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it was. I think people will be shocked by that.
That should be fun, especially the first time you get behind the wheel. I don't know about you, but when I'm behind the wheel, I'm fine. Everything's cool. It doesn't matter what I'm doing, how I'm driving. But when I'm in the passenger seat, are you a white knuckle guy? Or do you just kind of hold your breath, or do you just kind of try and remain cool?
Normally, no. I mean, with every other co-host, I was fine. It was just Brian. Just Brian. Just Brian scares me. Brian scares me. I love the guy, but if you're a passenger, he has this little sparkle in his eye that is one of the most dangerous, scariest sparkles that could be in anyone's eye. What
was the most fun car that you remember?
For me, the first time I drove one, and without a doubt the best car I've ever driven, was the McLaren 650. Yeah, I'm obsessed. I'm never going to be happy now either. Because now I can't see me getting a $350,000 car. So now I'll just, drive what I've got and wish it was a McLaren.
You guys have such an eclectic choice of vehicles too.
Right. Yeah. Every episode. I mean, it was such a, you've got 60s cars, you've got 80s cars, you've got, high performance cars, you've got trucks. It was so different, but really some of the best in every category. And it was, as a car fanatic and someone that, if people are watching this and they're not even a car fanatic, you can't help but appreciate the cars. They really are awesome. And it was one of those jobs. It was, I was saying earlier, it was one of those jobs where you see it on paper and you think, is it going to be this much fun? Are they really going to let us turn up on set and drive these cars and actually have fun with them? Or is it going to be one of those shows where, you show up and they're like, oh, you can only take it to 20 miles an hour. It really was everything. They literally gave us these cars and said, go enjoy yourself.
I would have loved to have been there when they came to you and said, so we've got this idea for a show. You get to take all these really cool cars. Yeah. And you get to drive them like crazy.
Yeah. Well, I was straight in. Before anything else was discussed, which was probably bad business on my part, but I was like, I'm in. Let's do it. When do we start?
Doesn't matter what you're paying me.
Doesn't matter at all.
No, I'll take minimum. Go ahead.
It's one of those gigs that I pretty much would have done for free. It's so much fun. Every day was, just a great time. And saw a lot of, California that I've lived there for a while, but out in Willow Springs, the racetrack out there and stuff like that was great. One
of the questions I ask a lot is people who have exposure, let's say, to media, cars that they watched on TV. Sometimes it's character cars, that kind of thing here in the States. When you were growing up in Britain, were there any cars that you saw on TV that kind of got your attention and made you real interested?
Yeah, there was a show called, I think it was called Bergeron. Bergeron. I'm pretty sure it was Bergeron. That's how you pronounce it. I mean, I was a kid, so I might be saying it completely wrong. But it was a show that was filmed in Jersey, in England, the little island, Jersey, not New Jersey.
Right.
And it was a Jag, and I used to love Jags for that reason. He was like kind of this cool guy, kind of like a James Bond kind of. On a budget. James Bond on a budget.
James Bond on a budget.
Yeah.
I think that was the first title of the show, James Bond on a budget.
James
now
Bond
let's
on a
shorten
budget.
it, Bergeron.
Yeah. And all the, all the movies and stuff like that. I mean, it's just, I don't know, cars really are a huge part of everyone's lives, even people that don't think they're into cars. Remember how, you see a car and it just triggers so many memories, and whether it's films, whether it's, childhood, whatever it is, I think everyone can relate to.
What about movies? Cars and movies, the one that comes to your mind first off.
I mean, Bond. Right, I mean, I don't want to be cliche. I don't want to keep going the British path, but Bond. I mean, he gets the best cars. So Aston Martin's probably one of my favourite cars as well.
So you're going back to the Sean Connery Bond, or are you going back to?
As movies, I love the Sean Connery Bonds. As cars, I mean, I love the new ones. I even think Jaguar as a brand, as cars. I've spoke about this before, but the way they've turned that company around and kept it so relevant is amazing. Their new cars are great.
I always think of the Roger Moore Bond.
Right, that's a good.
Roger Moore Bond had American Motors cars.
Right.
They had that. They had several vehicles. I think they had a Hornet.
Right. Okay.
They also had a Matador that flew.
This is.
Remember? If you remember,
I do remember
that. Remember that the Matador that flew? They put something on the roof and it flew off with wings and the whole thing.
Was that James Bond, or was it Chitty Chitty Bang Bang? Have you got your movies mixed up?
No, Roger.
Are you having a moment?
Was Roger Moore in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang?
I think he was, wasn't he?
He might have been.
Was he not the guy
that Dick Van
Chimney
Dyke?
Sweep? I don't know.
So get lost.
It's all the same.
I've been
all
around too darn long.
It's all the same.
It's just, doesn't it true though? It all seems to just meld
Well, there
together.
you go. There you go. There's cars in everything.
That's kind of neat. So you get an opportunity to drive these cars on JoyRide. Do you rate them against each other? How exactly does that work?
So, you know, the goal, the quest in every episode is to find the best of each category. So the best of trucks, the best weekend car, the best high performance car, you know, it's to find the best one. We start with 4 cars and we finish with 1. So
I see.
Yeah.
So that's per episode?
Per episode.
So you start over during the next episode?
Start completely over. Yeah,
that's interesting.
In a completely different category. And that's what was great, because, you know, one day I'll be racing a Rolls Royce around a racetrack. That was a mouthful. And the next day I'll be in a Bronco or it's such a different eclectic mix of cars.
But it's got to be a different kind of racetrack. I mean, you can't be driving.
Well, the crew on the show were actually pretty incredible. They were sometimes as I said, we'd be at Willow Springs, which is a well-known, famous racetrack, and other times they would just we'd turn up at the harbour in San Pedro, and they'd make a racetrack around like a man-made track. Obviously, we wouldn't be going 180 miles an hour around that.
No.
But we were also in, trucks and 60s cars. So
that has to be so much
It's
fun.
a little bit different, but yeah, it was great. It was great, and we did push them. We still push the cars as more than what you would think looking at it. They let us go a lot more. Like we thought our leash was there, and they were like, go a little bit more.
Any cars surprise you as far as maybe their endurance, or maybe not their endurance, or something along those lines?
Yeah, I don't want to talk negatively on it because it's such a beautiful and amazing car. But the Rolls-Royce Wraith was beautiful, and I think the design of that car is it's meant to be a faster, more sportier Rolls-Royce. So we took it around the track, and it didn't handle it too well. Got very angry at me. Started shaking, and it kind of told me to get out of the car. So I did.
As long as you stop it when you were,
I really didn't have a choice. It was shaking that hard that I really didn't have a choice.
Okay.
So I haven't received an invoice or a bill yet, so I'm fine.
You're a young guy. You're still learning with cars, but what kind of cars do you have in your garage right now?
I actually just have one car. I'm kind of a one-car guy. I have a car, I switch it. I have a car. I drive a Maserati.
That's a nice car to have in your garage.
It's a nice car. It's great. It drives very well.
What kind of Maserati?
It's the Ghibli.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it's actually it drives amazing. It goes really fast, and they charge me an arm and a leg for a service. It's great.
They charge everybody an arm and a leg for a service.
I don't even walk in there just to even get a coffee anymore because it costs a fortune.
The coffee costs a fortune.
The coffee costs a fortune at Maserati. Yeah, it's an expensive dealership.
I see. I completely
expensive dealership.
That.
No, it is a great car. I'm really enjoying it actually. Before that, I had a Range Rover. I've kind of always loved having trucks in LA because of the big potholes that we have and stuff like that. And I guess you could somewhat say it's maybe a midlife crisis. Early on, I guess. What age is a midlife crisis? What age do they put on that?
Whatever age you are, give or take 5 years.
Okay, I'm 35, so I think that's midlife. I'm getting there, right? I'm pushing. So I think it was a midlife crisis choice. I was in a Range Rover and I was like, I want a sports car. So I got rid of the Range Rover and went and got one of those, and I'm really enjoying it.
You've had a chance now to drive these other cars on the JoyRide show. What car is number 1 on your list of cars that you want?
Well, as I said, the McLaren, but that's not doable. I don't think I'm going to get the McLaren unless you're looking at
unless
Christmas
the
gifts.
Show goes on.
Yeah, unless
a few
the show
more
goes
episodes.
Unless the show goes to season 79, and then I'll look at a McLaren. Who knows?
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Exactly. Let's do it.
Let's think optimistic.
Let's do it. Let's do 80. Let's do 80
If it's not
seasons.
a McLaren, what would it be?
I would like to add to my collection. See, I'm a one-car guy, but I've always thought about having a classic car for the weekends. So I would like to add to that. I love the Pontiac GTO. It was amazing. It was great fun. Camaro SS. Either one of those, I'd kind of think that's like a great mixture.
Any particular era, like mid '60s, late '60s?
64.
Oh, the original.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think if you're going to do it right. Yeah, the one we had on the show was a nice black one, and it was just cool as. Can I say that? Can I say?
We can bleep, can't we? Yeah, I think we can do that. Why not?
Can we? It's a sign. It's fine. Just blame it on the British. Say I didn't say. Said sheep.
Oh,
sheep.
exactly.
Cool as sheep. It's cool as sheep.
You know, we could do anything in post.
You can do anything in post.
So, The show is going to be on Tuesdays. It's going to be
Tuesdays, 10 p.m. Esquire Network. Yes. It really is. I'm not self-promoting in any way, but people are going to enjoy it. It's a really good fun. And as I said, I think the mixture of personalities and the mixture of cars gels very well.
Did it surprise you that your co-hosts were as good as they were? I mean, obviously,
I thought you were going to say, did it surprise me? For starters, it surprised me my co-hosts. When I found out the co-host, I was like, wow, okay. I mean, it was a big surprise, and a very good surprise, because I thought, a lot of, I think networks and shows now go down the, the safe route, and I feel like this wasn't that safe. In the way of such an eclectic mix of people. So, yeah, it was fun.
They're different, and they come from a lot of different backgrounds. Obviously, Brian Vickers is going to be really good with the car.
Very good with the car.
Did anybody really surprise you with how well they did?
I mean, Mischa really did, yeah, because I hadn't heard much about her driving experience and stuff like that. So, yeah, she really surprised me with her driving experience. She was good. She was good. And T-Pain, I knew T-Pain for the guy that he is. I knew him for his music. I didn't know about his passion for cars and his car collection, and that he has a huge business in modifying cars. So learning something new about that guy and his passion for cars is huge, and that was kind of fun, finding out every day about what he owns every day.
How cool was it when you moved from Britain to here and saw the car culture?
It was impressive. Actually, there's a place, when I first moved to LA, I remember driving by. It's a vintage car store on Santa Monica in West Hollywood, right by Santa Monica and Doheny, if you know the one I mean. And I remember just pulling up and going in there and having a look at the cars, and it was amazing. It was great.
I mean, how often do you go to a place and they have classic cars like on a lot?
It's never really, never. It's amazing. It's amazing. And I think, I don't know, when you look at classic cars, that was what I really enjoyed about this show, when the classic cars, that episode specifically, is because you sit in them and it really does just make you feel like, the history, and like there's so much more has happened than what I even know, or in a car. Every car's got such a life before you sat in it. I
haven't seen the list of the cars you drive for the show.
I don't know if I can tell you every one of them, because you have to watch it.
Exactly, and that's the point. But as far as British cars on the show.
Right, and I can also tell you, we don't have the flying car that you spoke about earlier.
Don't have the AMC.
We don't have the flying car. No, we don't have that. None of our cars fly.
No AMC Matador.
It wasn't in the budget. Flying cars weren't in the budget.
All right, I'll watch the show anyway.
British cars. Well, there's an episode that's best of British cars.
Oh,
yeah. All right. I'm smiling now because it was great. Aston Martin, Jaguar's in there, McLaren's in there. Actually, McLaren's in the high performance, but a lot of British cars are featured in the series. Yeah.
Excellent.
I mean, why wouldn't they be?
They should be. Exactly. After all, they've got you. They've got to go with the flow on this.
They've got to keep me happy. Yeah.
And interested.
We
don't want you suddenly deciding, let's go to something else. So they've got to keep you interested.
The British cars definitely keep me interested. All the cars kept me interested. Yeah, I mean, I'd never really raced around a Ferrari either, around a racetrack. I mean, that was the fun parts, getting in some of these cars and actually getting to take them on the racetrack.
Now, let's say the show is renewed.
Right.
Which, of course, we know it will be renewed.
Yes.
So when the show is renewed, what car would you like them to bring in so you can drive?
Well, that's a good question. I've been just focusing on the show being renewed. I haven't even thought about the cars yet.
Is there anything out there?
Yeah, I mean, the high performance cars that we've done, obviously I mentioned the McLaren and stuff like that, and the cars were amazing, the Ferrari. I think a Bugatti needs to be in there if we're going to do it. If we're going to do another high performance episode, the Veyron needs to be in there. Yeah, I'd like to. I mean, taking that around the track would be incredible.
That would be
I've
neat.
sat in one and drove it from here to that wall. Wasn't that much fun because it didn't really get to, but they didn't trust me to take it any further.
Yeah, okay.
So, which is a valid point, especially probably after they watch the show. But I'd love to get in one of those and take it around the track.
We all want to be him. We all want to be him on this show.
Yeah, it's
so you have to watch the show Tuesday nights on Esquire Network.
Yes, and if I go missing, you're going to know that he's applying for my job.
And if I just happen to be there, and maybe they'll let me test drive, maybe.
Exactly. We could switch. I feel like one day I could just not show up and you could be me. How's your British accent?
Oh, yeah, mate. I could be a Cockney kind of guy.
Once again, chitty chitty bang bang.
Roger Moore. Wait a minute.
There you go. What was that, Roger? What was the Roger Moore movie? I love that one as well because he had the classic Rolls Royce in it, didn't he? The where he's drunk. He's drunk all the time.
Roger Moore drunk.
Dudley Moore. I was thinking of. Dudley Moore drunk. Dudley Moore drunk. Dudley Moore drunk. I've got
Dudley Moore is
Moore
always drunk in a
this.
movie.
He is always drunk in a movie.
Meanwhile,
That's why-
Roger Moore's watching this going, wait a minute, I don't
never been
remember.
drunk.
I've never been drunk before.
Yeah, Roger was drunk at a party. That's
I
where
see.
I'm getting them mixed up.
That's the first time I've ever confused Roger Moore and Dudley
I think
Moore.
it's the first time I ever had.
While
too.
they were eating Dinty
It's
Moore,
because I
which
was.
could be...
This is getting really confusing.
Yes, it is.
That could be the rap though.
That could be our next sponsor, so I should be very nice to Dinty Moore.
Denty Moore.
Yeah.
What's Denty Moore?
It's like a beef stew in a can.
Okay, well you just gave it a great plug now.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so
And where can you purchase Denty Moore?
if a case shows up here at the studio, I'll send
Hang on, there's
you.
one coming down from the ceiling
I'll
right
send
now.
it. As a matter of fact, try it now.
Yeah.
It should be here, there.
Perfect.
Try
Perfect.
it. Get it at your store and watch him
Okay,
on
that's
Tuesday
enough
nights.
now. That's enough now. Yes, watch me Tuesday nights, 10 p.m. JoyRide.
Oliver,
Thank you, sir. Pleasure.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thanks to Oliver Trevena from JoyRide for joining me right here at the Automobile Driving Museum. Check out their website and plan to come by for a visit. Oh, and don't forget, you can follow our show on social media, listen on iTunes, and watch us on Facebook and YouTube. I'm Randy Cardoon. Join me right here next time on Talking About Cars.